allow us to tie 4 light rail lines, 4 light rail branches together to make 2 lines. We take the gold line, which is really kind of like 2 lines tied together. We take the blue line, we take Expo, and we put them all together. Now there's always some argument about, well, which is going to go with what, this, that, and the other thing. Right now, the capacity situation will probably indicate that we're going to run the blue line with the foothill side of the gold line. It seems to work a little bit better in terms of peak hour capacity. And then that would mean that the east side, wherever it will be, South El Monte or Whittier, will go to Santa Monica, which is a very traditional traffic pattern in Los Angeles. There's lots of volume that goes east-west every day. Everything would go through downtown. What we do with the regional connector is at East Junction at Little Tokyo over there. The Little Tokyo station that you know right now would cease to exist with a regional connector. What's being proposed currently is a fully underground alignment, which is really the only way we can do this, with a junction underneath First and Alameda. So that pretty much makes the Little Tokyo station not usable anymore. So Little Tokyo would be reconstructed just west, railroad west, railroad south, or west, depending on which way you're going. Kind of underneath the Office Depot. Is over there at that corner, central. Yeah, underneath Office Depot. That would be the new Little Tokyo station in that area. And then there would be a second and Main Street station, and then a Bunker Hill station, and a flower between 4th and 5th station, and where everything joins back in at Metro Center. Now, the deal with the junction there is going to be very similar to the junction at Washington and Flower, in that they're both going to be flat junctions. We can't have a separated junction like Wilshire, Vermont, where we fly over the top, you have a stack station. That really is the best way to do things. However, the lay of the land over Little Tokyo, along with some other issues, is going to preclude that. So our junctions will be quite interesting to operate. And what we're looking at going through this thing is service on each of these branches during the rush hour at the worst 6 minutes. And it's going to be between 5 and 6, depending on how many trains we can put through these junctions. So, when this first starts, this will all be a 6-minute headway. I'll be fairly certain of that. So, any part of your branch, you'll be able to get a train every 6 minutes and transfer downtown to virtually any corner of the county. Should be very effective. The scheduling of this thing, the operation is going to be a nightmare. We are supposed to get a maintenance facility out in Santa Monica. It's going to be let as a separate contract to the Exposition 2 project, which always leaves one to be a little bit nervous until the contract's actually signed. So that would give us a line for the east side, or for the east-west alignment. Likewise, we would have a new facility out in Monrovia for the north end of the operation, the foothill side of the operation, which I'll just call the blue line now. So the blue line would have essentially a yard of each end, which is a really good thing. For the gold line, which I'll call from Santa Monica to the east side, the gold line would be still needing a yard somewhere in the downtown area or on the east side. However, we do have a yard at Midway, just right over there, right up around the corner here, and that could very well be a very functional piece of property for many years to come. We have to hold our breath on that because there's a lot of folks who want that land. So we'll see what happens. The schedule will have to be, the tricky part of this thing is that all these alignments, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, every one of them has some piece of street running on it. So the two most important parts of these railroads are going to be the junctions, where, in fact, the trains, say for a good old blue line right now, they don't have to necessarily pass at the same time through Washington and Flower. However, when we put all this together, they are going to have to pass at the same time. So it'll be kind of like the BART tunnel up in San Francisco, where everything's allotted a time slot to go underneath, going through the tube. You miss the time slot, quite simply, you miss the time slot, and you wait for your next time slot to get in there, because there's so many trains at such a high frequency. Every, what, 2 minutes? Through a tunnel, it might be a little bit less than that right now. So that's kind of what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to send blue line trains in, and then a couple, 3 minutes later, we'll have to send gold line trains in and out. They'll both pass. So on the total, you see 2 blue line trains go in and out. Then 3 minutes later, you'll see. 3 minutes later, you'll see gold line trains go in and out. And at the same exact moment, they'll be doing the same exact thing on the other end at Washington Flower. It's the only way it works with flat junctions. The only way. They have to be timed to the minute to go through there. Problematic is if we had a flying junction like Wilshire, Vermont, then we'd have some slack to dig our way out of that. So how are we going to do that? Coming off a street running from Long Beach, street running from Santa Monica, street running from the east side, and, well, Marmion Way on the foothill side. Those are all big variables. It's hard enough to even get close to running on time right now with street running. It's only going to become worse with the expansion. So what we're probably going to be faced with is building a control point, probably either 1 or 2 stations back from the junctions. So, for example, at Blue Line, our Blue Line we have right now, let's say San Pedro, we have trains, they'll have to hold on there. They'll just have to wait, for a minute or so to get timed, so they'll progress through the street and hit the junction at the right time. Likewise, maybe at Jefferson Station on Santa Monica side. The one we probably will have a little bit more flexibility with would be the foothill side, because it is Marmion Way. It's not that long, and it's fairly consistent, so we may have some flexibility there. The east side is tremendously random right now, and just depending on the time of day and the signal phasing, what have you, we'll probably have to hold that and start regulating that back at Mariachi, so everything hits at the right time. So, that's going to be fun. And then think if you're a train operator on one of these assignments. You started at Azusa, you go to Long Beach. Okay, that's 22 stations, 21 stations northbound on the Blue Line, plus what, 13 plus another 6 is 19. That's 41 stations. Yikes.
Get an hour layover.
Yeah, get an hour layover, exactly.
Or you should get a prostate exam.
Yeah. Santa Monica East Side, virtually the same thing. By the time we're done, it's going to be like about 30 stations long. That's bordering insane from an operational standpoint. I think the Blue Line, the Blue Line foothill segment probably cannot be stretched any further than Azusa Citrus. If and when the day comes when we go up to Paramount, we're going to probably have to bring from line to in some sort of a fashion, somewhere in around Pasadena, I would imagine. So there's other cities that have like outer end shuttles on lines. We'll probably have to really consider that. So I'm an operator, I'm going through, and I'm probably not running end to end, so what we would probably end up doing is if we send an operator up there, gosh, he's not going to be back for 2 hours, and that's going to mean like 2 round trips and you're done with your day. And likewise, if you have a service anomaly, something even worse than that, and you could be an hour and a half away from your scheduled time off, and let's say we're scheduling them for 9 hours of work, and all of a sudden we're close to violation time by the time it's all said and done.